Welcome to the channel, where we explore the past, not as it was, but as it could have been. If you're fascinated by alternate history, untold stories, and bold what-ifs, you're in the right place. Make sure to hit like, subscribe, and let's dive into today's incredible journey through a world without colonization. The sun never sets on the British Empire, or so they claimed. For over 3 centuries, Britain expanded its reach across continents, ruling lands, reshaping economies, redrawing borders, and leaving behind a legacy of language, law, and loss. From the bustling streets of Calcutta to the highlands of Kenya, from the coasts of Australia to the railroads of Canada, no region remained untouched. But what if it never happened? What if the British Empire never came to be? No East India Company, no red marks on the world map, no colonization at all. What kind of world would we live in today? Join us as we step into a powerful, alternate history. A world without British domination. A world where nations grew without chains. A world that might have been, in our timeline, the British Empire rose through trade, naval power, and industrial might. But in this alternate reality, things unfold differently. Britain remains a regional power, an island nation focused on its own affairs. Its navy sails the North Sea and Atlantic coasts, not the Indian Ocean or Pacific. Without colonies to exploit, there is no massive influx of wealth, no looted treasures, no forced labor, no plantations feeding the homeland. The Industrial Revolution still arrives, but slowly, modestly, built on coal, not conquest. Factories rise, but their products circulate locally, not globally. British society develops inward, debating reform, expanding education, perhaps even forming a European-style republic earlier than in our history. Meanwhile, rival powers, France, Spain, the Dutch Republic, compete and clash, but without a dominant Britain, no one empire reigns supreme. The age of imperialism, delayed, the world, open to new contenders. In this timeline, there is no East India Company, no divide and rule, no British Raj. India remains whole, diverse, yet self-governing. Instead of being stripped of its wealth, it continues trading on its own terms. Spices, textiles, ideas, freely flowing through ancient routes from the south to Central Asia and beyond. The Mughal Empire, though in decline, transitions into a confederation of princely states and republics, cooperating, competing, but never conquered. Without colonialism's deliberate suppression of industry, Bengal remains a global textile hub. The Deccan sees indigenous innovation in metallurgy, shipbuilding, and astronomy. India's universities, revived and respected, flourish. Nalanda is rebuilt. Takshashila becomes a hub once again. Knowledge flows outward, not just inward. With no imperial interruption, Sanskrit, Tamil, Persian, and Urdu coexist alongside evolving modern Indian languages. A cultural golden age, uninterrupted, and perhaps, India becomes not the jewel in the crown, but the crown itself. Africa, the cradle of humankind, remains unconquered in this alternate world. There is no Berlin Conference, no artificial borders drawn in European parlors, no scramble for Africa, no transcontinental exploitation. Kingdoms like Mali, Songhai, and Congo continue their rise, not under chains, but with their own agency. The Swahili coast thrives as a trade superpower. Timbuktu expands, becoming a global academic beacon, not a forgotten name in colonial records. The Zulu, Ashanti, and Yoruba peoples evolve into modern states, retaining cultural pride, political sovereignty, and control of their resources. Gold, diamonds, cocoa, and oil enrich local communities, not foreign shareholders. The Congo River becomes a highway of African innovation, not a witness to atrocities. Without colonial languages imposed, African languages modernize and flourish in governance, education, and diplomacy. By the 20th century, Africa isn't struggling to recover from centuries of pillage. It is setting the terms of global engagement, proud, united, and fully sovereign. The Americas, vast, untamed and teeming with life, remain sovereign in this alternate history. From the icy reaches of the Arctic to the tropical rainforests of the Amazon, indigenous nations thrive, without the specter of European conquest. The Aztec Empire, with its intricate knowledge of astronomy and agriculture, strengthens its hold over central Mexico, advancing into the future with a robust trade network reaching from the northern plains to the Andes. In the Andes, the Inca continue to expand, with their network of roads, bridges, and advanced agricultural techniques spreading into North and South America, fostering an interconnected continent. The Great Lakes in the Mississippi Valley are not colonized by the French or the British. Instead, the Native American tribes continue to shape their own futures, creating alliances and sometimes competing for power, but never subjugated. The Iroquois Confederacy strengthens as an economic and political force, potentially influencing the entire continent's destiny. Without the forced importation of enslaved Africans, the Americas' social fabric remains more balanced. No sugar plantations or forced labor. Instead, agriculture evolves in harmony with the environment, focusing on crops like corn, beans, and potatoes. The Americas, free from European interference, become a diverse mosaic of cultures, languages, and peoples, developing at their own pace, with a rich heritage untainted by centuries of exploitation. By the 19th century, a different kind of America emerges, one that leads the world in technology, philosophy, and sustainable growth, all while respecting the land and its people. With the British Empire absent, the balance of global power shifts in unexpected ways. In Europe, the void left by Britain's absence is filled by a diverse set of powers: France, Spain, the Netherlands, and even emerging states like Prussia. The continent sees more cooperation than conflict, as the absence of an imperial juggernaut fosters alliances and collaborations. The Napoleonic Wars are less destructive, perhaps even avoided, as Europe's economies and borders stabilize without British intervention. On the global stage, the United States rises more gradually. Without the legacy of British colonization and the struggle for independence, the political landscape is more decentralized. The early 19th century sees the creation of a powerful, diverse, and united North America, a federation of states, each with more autonomy, shaping their future based on mutual respect and governance. In Asia, the absence of European imperialism creates a different path for China and Japan. The Qing dynasty, not distracted by foreign invasions, focuses inward on strengthening its infrastructure and economy. The Silk Road is revitalized as an exchange of ideas, art, and science. Japan's Meiji Restoration comes earlier, perhaps even led by indigenous forces, free of Western influence, to chart its own industrial revolution. The Middle East, too, follows its own course. The Ottoman Empire, without European interference, holds its grip for a century longer, acting as a powerful bridge between East and West, fostering cultural exchange. The absence of colonial powers opens the door for new global powers to rise. Countries with vast natural resources, thriving industries, and a deep respect for their own cultural heritage. And as the 20th century dawns, the world is not dominated by a few, it is shaped by many. In this world without colonialism, the global economy unfolds very differently. Trade networks are still expansive, yet they're driven by mutual respect and shared interests, not exploitation and dominance. Instead of European powers setting the terms of trade, a multipolar world emerges. The Americas, Africa, Asia, and Europe each play key roles in a global economy that thrives on diverse resources, technology, and expertise. The industrial revolutions that once powered the West are now balanced by indigenous innovations from India, China, and Africa, spanning agriculture, metallurgy, textiles, and medicine. India, free from colonial extraction, invests in its own manufacturing and tech industries early on. By the late 19th century, the country's textile industry leads the world, and its pharmaceutical and scientific sectors emerge as global leaders. The absence of imperial control also fosters diverse financial systems. Without the imposition of European-style capitalism, Indigenous models of trade and finance, long practiced in African kingdoms and South Asian empires, are revived. These systems emphasize community development and sustainable growth, prioritizing human welfare over profits. Africa's natural resources are mined and traded, but controlled locally, ensuring wealth is circulated within nations rather than siphoned off to foreign shores. The global economy is powered by cooperative trade, not unequal treaties or monopolistic corporations. Oil, diamonds, and gold are valuable commodities, but without European interference, their extraction is ethical, benefiting local populations and preserving environmental integrity. The absence of colonization means industrialization is decentralized. Small states and federations in Asia, Africa, and the Americas develop cutting-edge technologies, each contributing to a global renaissance in engineering, agriculture, and energy. By the 20th century, the world economy is no longer Western-dominated. It is a global partnership, one rooted in equity, shared knowledge, and sustainable practices. A more balanced world economy where resources are utilized for the benefit of all, not the few. Without the scars of imperialism, the world is shaped by cooperation, not conflict. Nations that were once rivals or colonial subjects now stand as equals on the global stage. Without the colonial powers seeking domination, the idea of global unity gains a stronger foothold early on. The League of Nations, or perhaps a similar international body, emerges in the 19th century, fostering peace through dialogue, not military might. With no world wars fueled by imperial competition, the 20th century sees the rise of peaceful diplomacy, cultural exchanges, and mutual prosperity. The arms race that once defined the Cold War era never ignites. Instead, nations invest in global development, spending on education, infrastructure, and healthcare. The absence of imperialism also means social justice, and equality flourish earlier. African and Asian nations, freed from colonial burdens, create social systems that value their own traditions while embracing progress. The civil rights movements of the 20th century are not just Western phenomena. They resonate globally, with equality at their heart, rather than the fight for freedom from oppression. Without the divisions of colonial borders, tribal conflicts that were once fueled by external powers' manipulation are avoided. The map of the world, while still diverse, is drawn with respect to cultural heritage and regional autonomy, not foreign interests. Instead of rivalries that tear nations apart, we see the growth of international organizations, governments working together to solve shared challenges. Global resources, whether human or environmental, are seen as shared responsibilities. Countries unite to combat climate change, preserve biodiversity, and ensure that development is sustainable for future generations. By the turn of the 21st century, the world is not a place of competition or conquest. It is a place of collaboration and peace. A world where nations are not broken by external forces, but united by shared dreams for prosperity, sustainability, and mutual respect. As we close this journey through an alternate timeline, we are reminded of the power of choices, the paths we take, the decisions that shape our world. In this alternate history, India, Africa, the Americas, and every corner of the earth remain free from the grip of colonization. Their cultures, economies, and governments have evolved in their own unique ways, free to chart their own courses, unburdened by the legacy of imperialism. A world not marked by exploitation, but by partnership and respect. We can't help but wonder how different our world might be today had history taken another turn. Would we be living in a future where peace and progress are shared across nations? Could humanity, unshackled from the past, unlock its true potential for cooperation and growth? While we can't change the past, we can learn from it. This vision of a more peaceful, equitable world is not just a dream. It's a possibility. Perhaps in the choices we make today, we can build a better tomorrow. A world where global cooperation and mutual respect are the foundation of everything we do. Thank you for joining us on this alternate journey through history. Until next time, imagine what could be, and remember, The future is still unwritten.